It's getting better all the time.
Hey guys, Ian here from Co-Create Today, taking your mindset from a place of lack to a place of abundance. Now, what are the rules when it comes to this day and age? What are the restrictions that people put on us, especially governments? And how are there limitations when it comes to who you think you can be? Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of restrictions based off your relative position in this time and in this world. But I'm just here to tell you that beyond all this, beyond all these government official rules and all these laws and all these restrictions, you are a free soul. You're a free person. The problem that I'm facing lately is, I'm this human on this earth living this human experience, but what was I prior to that? What was I before all of this? What was me before this physical body? And I question myself as just like, well, if I wasn't always this physical body, was I don't know, something far less dense? Was I something that is free and is something that wasn't limited by just this skin and bones and this environment? Well, I like to think that I'm a free embodiment of bliss. I'm an embodiment of life, and I just happen to be in this body, this lifetime, and I'm here to learn. I'm here to expand myself, and through that expansion, it can only come through this physical limitation. So, what I'm here to tell you is the limitations, the rules, and all the restrictions in your life are there for a reason. They're here to bless you, and whether or not you can use these to your advantage, or you are pushed down and even more constricted by them, has everything to do with your mindset. It has everything to do with how deep your faith is. What I would like to think and elaborate on is how, yes, there's rules for us, but these rules basically shape us in a very great image of ourselves. We can use these rules and we can use these restrictions so we can grow in other areas. Now, if it was not a law to kill people, I think people would really have a fear-based mentality when it comes to life. We would be very scared that today could be our last, and we would literally be anarchy and have lots of, primitive embodiments of kind of just like beastery, if that makes any sense. Like, we would be ready to kill. And the fact of the matter is that that's not the case anymore, and because of that restriction, we can grow in other areas. Now, in order for you to grow in the best way possible, you have to realize that these are there for a reason, and there's huge spots in your life that you need to grow into. So, for my example, it's like, okay, so we live in this 21st century, you need to get a job. Like, if you live in America, you have to have a job if you want to be able to make it in anything, especially as an entrepreneur trying to build a business. You have to have a job that maintains and supplies the business itself. You have to put into business. You have to feed into the system. Now, eventually, the idea is to go full-time business and less time at a job. But because of this exactly, most people need a job for social interactions. You are a human, therefore you are a social being. You wouldn't know you are a human if you didn't have other humans. Okay? So that idea right alone shows that you need to be a social being. You need to be able to associate with other people and learn and grow through them. The problem is that we as a society are basically leaning towards a job to do all that and above. We have to basically get paid for us to get out of our comfort zones, to engage in social interactions, and quite honestly, that's fine. But in my situation, that is the last thing that I need to be doing to build my business far bigger. The fact of the matter is I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and I'm literally engaging myself in social interaction. Not because I have to, because I want to and I need to if I want to build my business. I like to think of it as like, if I'm going to be a social butterfly, why don't I go out and network? I don't know if I'm necessarily the most social person, but I do know that I am a little extroverted when it comes to finding my energy in other people and being in social interactions to find that. It just depends on what types of social interactions. If I'm at a party, that is the last place I want to be. I'm probably going to fall asleep or I just want to be alone. But if I can go out and just be around my best friends, my good friends, my mentors, my business partners, I could be up and do that for days. So the fact of the matter is I'm going out of my comfort zone to get into social interactions where we can grow, we can prosper, we can work together to enterprise ourselves and start to flourish in this life. And that is all have to do with the restrictions that we have in our life. We're forced to get a job, therefore that it kind of embodies this idea in my head. Okay, if I'm forced to do this, then why don't I search out other ideas where there's a little more gray zone? Like job is like black and white, but an entrepreneur is straight gray. Like you don't know like what that all entails. But going into that embodiment, because there are restrictions, there are rules and stuff, not everybody can get on this side of the spectrum. I'm totally willing and able to make my way to the right side of the quadrant, the big business owner quadrant, and eventually into the investing, because I know that because people are forced to be social, I'm going to force myself to be social above being social, so I can actually create something and create a system and create an influx of wealth and influx of financial prosperity, so I can start dwelling in other restricted areas and other parts of my life, so we can actually work together to change the world. That's the idea, guys. It's like, yes, there's rules and there's rules of engagement, rules of conduct, but if we can start to show by example and lead by influence, we can change the world. And obviously those rules and those things have basically maneuvered and guided us through all that process to get to where we want and where we're going. And I'm really excited, guys. I know that there's a lot of they're like very hard to understand concepts in this video, but I like to just elaborate on these things and just say some stuff that hasn't necessarily been said all the time. You probably want to hear this on the news. You probably haven't heard this ever. This is a new idea that I have embodied, and I just want to share this with other people, and I want to be able to grow from within, because I know that I'm going to have an external environment that's going to be restricting, but the idea of it is resistance builds stronger. So yes, I'm going to be restricted, but if I can push and keep on pushing and push harder and eventually get strong enough where I throw that sucker out of the way, yes, that's where we're headed. That's where we're going. If you want to continue and go on the same journey as me, please hit that bell button so you can get notifications, because I make a video every single day. Other than that, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. But have an amazing day, guys, and I will see you soon. Namaste.